This is the BenQ TK series gaming projectors, and I've been using them as my main big screen setup for games and weekend movies. From my experience, this series is built around one idea: make a projector feel fast and usable for real gaming, while still looking sharp at 4K and bright enough for a living room. The TK700 is the standard throw option if you've got more space behind you. The TK700ST and TK700STI are the short throw options if you want a 100-inch image from about 6.5 feet. The I model just adds BenQ's Android TV dongle inside the shell. Image quality and gaming performance are the same. Key features that stood out to me are the low input lag, the 3000 lumen brightness, the short throw lens on the ST line, and the EARC HDMI port for clean audio routing. The low latency is the headliner. It feels immediate in a way I don't usually associate with projectors. If you've struggled with mushy controls on older models, this is the opposite. Specs list roughly 16 milliseconds at 4K 60, about 8.3 milliseconds at 1080p 120, and down to around 4.2 milliseconds at 1080p 240 on a PC. In my opinion, those numbers line up with how it plays. I tested with a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and a gaming PC. Swapping between 4K 60 for single-player games and 1080p 120 for shooters felt natural. I couldn't get 4K 120 because the HDMI is 2.0B, not full bandwidth 2.1. So you pick either resolution or refresh rate. For fast games, I prefer 1080p 120. For story-driven titles, I'm happy with 4K 60 because the clarity looks great. The short throw distance on the TK700ST is a lifesaver for smaller rooms. It's perfect for apartments or a living room where you can't push the projector all the way to the back. I got a clean 100-inch image at around 6.5 feet, and it can stretch larger without breaking a sweat. Just understand it's short throw, not ultra short throw. It still needs to be centered on the screen. There's no lens shift, so the physical placement has to be right. You can use Keystone to square the image, but that can add processing and a touch of lag, which goes against the whole point of a low-latency gaming projector. I forced myself to line it up properly and skipped Keystone so I could keep the snappy feel. Image quality is strong for gaming and sports. It's a 4K DLP with pixel shifting, so it resolves a crisp, detailed picture that looks genuinely 4K from a normal seating distance. Colors lean accurate in the default modes, and the 3000 lumen brightness is the real-life win. With lights on or daylight peeking in, the picture still holds up better than most projectors I've used. HDR10 and HLG are supported, and there's an HDR brightness control that actually matters. I bumped it a notch for daytime hours and dropped it back at night. In my opinion, HDR looks best when you keep expectations realistic for projectors. Highlight pop is good, but it's not going to match an OLED TV's black depth. That brings me to the big trade-off. In a dark room, black levels are the weak link. Scenes that should sink into deep black look more like dark gray, and shadow detail can feel flatter than I want for movie night. If you watch a lot of moody films in a light-controlled space, you'll notice this. If you're gaming, watching sports, or you leave a lamp on, the brightness advantage beats the contrast hit. And the image looks lively and clean. This is the classic bright room projector trade. It punches harder in ambient light, but it doesn't give you theater-grade blacks. Motion handling is excellent, especially at higher refresh rates. 1080p 120 from consoles feels fluid, and 1080p 240 from a PC looks razor smooth for twitchy titles. The game modes are actually useful. FPS mode, with the shadow boost setting, helped me see enemies in darker corners without turning the whole screen into a washed mess. I kept sharpness moderate, so edges didn't look artificial. And I turned off extra processing to keep the input lag low point audio setup, is where the EARC port earns its keep. I plugged consoles into the projector for the lowest video latency, and ran a single HDMI cable from the projector's EARC port to a soundbar. It passed lossless audio formats properly, including Atmos on supported apps. No receiver, no weird switching, and no extra delay. The built-in speaker is just a 5W fallback. It's fine for quick clips or when I'm tinkering with settings, but it sounds thin in a real living room. With EARC so easy, I think most people will go with a soundbar or AVR anyway. Fan noise is noticeable because the short throw setup puts the projector close to the couch. In normal mode, I can hear it during quiet scenes. Eco mode drops the noise a bit, and also lowers brightness a notch, which is fine at night. With a soundbar at normal volume, the fan fades into the background, but if you're very sensitive, you'll still hear it when things get quiet. One more thing I want to be honest about: DLP rainbow effect. As a single chip DLP with a color wheel, it can produce quick flashes of red, green, blue along high contrast edges when your eyes dart around. I'm slightly sensitive to it. I noticed it on black and white menus and subtitles at first. During gameplay, I mostly forgot about it. But on certain movie scenes with bright objects on dark backgrounds, the flashes popped up. Some people never see it at all. If you already know you're sensitive to RBE, you might prefer a 3 LCD projector. If you're not sure, try to demo before you buy, or buy with a return window. Usability has a couple rough edges. The remote layout is fine, but it's not backlit. When the lights are down, I fumble for buttons or just use my phone flashlight, which feels silly on a product made for dark rooms. The on-screen menu is straightforward and quick to navigate. HDMI handshakes haven't given me trouble, and switching between HDR and SDR sources has been seamless. Choosing the right model from this series is simple. If you have the throw distance, the TK700 standard throw model works great and costs less. If you're tight on space, the TK700ST or TK700STI is the move. The only real difference between ST and STI is streaming. The I includes the Android TV dongle tucked inside the case. I use external streamers anyway, so I'd save money with the ST. If you want an all-in-one approach without extra boxes, the STI is convenient. Either way, gaming performance is the same. It's perfect for gamers who want a massive screen without turning the living room into a cave. If you play both on console and PC, you'll get the best results using 4K 60 for cinematic titles and 1080p 120 for competitive play. If deep black home theater is your main goal, this series wouldn't be my first pick. In my opinion, it's tuned for speed and brightness, not for reference level contrast. From my experience, setup is where many people trip up. Level the projector, center it horizontally with the screen, and get the height right so you don't rely on keystone. Lock in focus at your actual seating distance. Don't stand 2 feet from the screen. Use eco mode at night to tame fan noise and run audio over EARC so you don't add latency. If HDR looks too dim, nudge the HDR brightness control up a step and try the game HDR preset for titles that are mastered dark. I'd recommend this for players who value responsiveness, want a 100-inch image in a regular room, and appreciate a clean one-cable audio path. I wouldn't recommend it for someone who's very sensitive to DLP rainbows or for anyone building a blackout theater who cares most about deep, inky blacks and perfect shadow detail. In conclusion, the BenQ TK series gaming projectors deliver what the name promises: big, bright, sharp 4K gaming with real low latency and a setup that fits into normal spaces. The strengths are obvious the first time you swing a camera in a fast shooter, and the view keeps up like a good monitor. The compromises show up during dark movie scenes and when you're trying to place a short throw unit without lens shift. If your priority is gaming on a massive screen in a living room, I think this series nails it. If your priority is cinema pure and simple, there are better fits. I will update specific information about the BenQ TK series gaming projectors in the comments. Don't forget to catch my next video.